All right, so today we're going to be doing some green-black infect, Golgari Infect. It plays very differently than the blue-green infect that I have quite a bit of on my channel. Um, we're running a lot less pump spells. As you can see, we've got Become Immense, Mutagenics, and then we have just Might of Olds and Scale Ups and Vines for our pump. So we're running only 15 pump spells. In what we've changed those pump spells out for is some removal with Abrupt Decay and some hand disruption with Inquisition and Thoughtseize. And then we still have the 4 of Glistener Elf, the 4 of Hierarch, the 4 of Inkamoth Nexus. And since we're no longer in blue, we can't run Blighted Agent. So we're running Plague Stingers, which is evasion. It's just a 1/1 infect with flying. It's not terrible, but the real house is going to be Phyrexian Crusader here, because not only does it have first strike, but it also has protection from red and white, meaning we get to dodge both any bolt effect and Path to Exile, which are 2 cards that absolutely can destroy infect. The mana base, it's a bit changed up because of how we're no longer in blue-green. We now need black. We're still running just the 2 forests and then a 1 of swamp. You'll notice that there are no Pendle Havens because we don't necessarily need that green and the +1/+2. As far as for the sideboard's concerned, we've got 3 Spellbomb as a way to deal with graveyard decks. We've got 2 Plague Engineers to deal with things like humans and spirits and tribal. Kitchen Finks for the burn-esque matchups where we just need a bit more life gain. Push in case we need removal. And then Shaper Sanctuary, so when they target our stuff, we get to draw cards. Veil of Summer for the counter magic matchups, and Choke for the island matchups, which are counter magic matchups as well. That's the quick rundown on this list. It recently did well in it 5-0'd in a league, which is where I saw it, and then it also did 30th in a challenge recently, so it's not awful. So we're gonna run it in some leagues and see how we do, and see you guys for match 1. Okay, hand's got the 3 threats. It's got an Inquisition. Sure, we'll try it. Now note, this does play a lot differently than like the blue-green infect. We work a lot more on chip damage and less on burst. So opponent's down to 5, so we'll try to use this Inquisition as best we can turn 1. Okay. So is this the Oops All Spells deck? You shock in, go ahead and Inquisition, see what we're dealing with. Pentad Prism and a Spy. So problem's gonna be that Spy. Okay. They're 1 mana away from Spy. It's ETB. And they're gonna put all their cards into their graveyard. Upkeep, we draw. Okay. We'll go Nexus into Plague Stinger here, pass the turn. So they've got 2 in hand that we don't know of, plus the Spy. So let's think here. If we Might of Old, plus Animate, that will be enough for a next turn lethal. So they need to have it here. They shock it in. They've got it, don't they? Well, we know that they have the spy. So spy resolves. They throw their whole yard into the graveyard. Yep. So they are running Leyline of Sanctity, which is going to be a problem. They've got one of Nexus of Fate. And they've got the Titan. Okay. Oh, they don't have 3 swords, though. They have 2 Narcomoeba triggers. So with a correct stacking here... No, there's nothing that they can do. So they do this. They need to... Because they drew a Sword of the Meek here, they don't have 3 artifacts to sack. So we're at 5. They can't Vengevine us to death here. Because they need to play another creature. They've got a 3/5 and a 1/1. We're at 5. Okay. For some reason, I thought that required, I guess it's just exile from a graveyard. They can't cast it. The casting is... Okay, so they do a Phantasmagoria into hand. By pitching this. Exile 3 from a graveyard, return it. Okay. So if they cast the Phantasmagorian... we lose? I mean, we lose if they have a... We lose if they block both of these. Anyway. But hey. Okay, they put Salvage Titan back into their hand. Yep. So they could have gotten there. In step comes to us, upkeep. We can draw. What do we draw? It doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess second pump spell here? No. Vines. So animate, swing. We have vines. Or we have just vines. So this comes down to, does our opponent choose to block both of them? Right, because we can... Yeah, they've got the mana to just equip those swords anywhere. Okay. Do this, begin sideboarding. Spell bombs come in. They don't really target our stuff. I like the Inquisition, the Thought Seizes. Abrupt Decays are kind of meh. They don't really do anything. Like their permanents that we want to destroy is like Leyline of Sanctity, which they're probably leaving in since we IOK'd them. I mean, we could maybe think about bringing in Plague Engineer and try to go over them with flying. Because like these Crusaders are pretty mediocre in this matchup. From the aspect of by the time that by the time we're at 3 mana, they're at 3 mana. If they're at 3 mana, they're probably winning the game. We'll try like so. Just so that way the Narcomoebas can enter the battlefield, but then the swords don't have an equip. I don't know how that interaction works off the top of my head. I believe the sword would still enter the battlefield. But hey. I would love to play first. Hand's got a Spell Bomb, a Glistener Elf, and a Plague Stinger. Sure. We're 1 mana away from a Plague Engineer. Okay, interesting. No ley line from opponent. Go ahead and pull up Narcomoeba here. Just so I know what its creature type is. Illusion. Cool. Okay, so we draw Spell Bomb. We'll play this out, get in for 1 chip damage. Black 1 Plague Stinger, pass turn. No need to Spell Bomb here, because even if they shock in and do Pentad Prism, now they've put the Pentad Prism into play, and our Spell Bomb's looking a lot better. Especially with that off the top. Make sure we're tapping the newly controlled one. Spell Bomb. Sure, we'll go double Spell Bomb, combat, get in for 2. Shatter Skull shocks in. Interesting choice. 1, 2, 3, spy. Okay. Targets me. Sure. We get to look at the cards. Nice. So this is what? Target player reveals until they reveal a land card, then puts those cards into the graveyard? Okay. You've got a 2/3 flyer. Okay. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a swamp here and set up a Crusader. Combat, swing for 2. They can block 1 of them. If they so inclined, they do. They now have a 1/2 with flying. We have pro red, pro white with first strike. They shock that in. They now have... Okay, that's a Narcomoeba. Sounds good. Why do we shock in Narcomoeba? Land off the top here would be pretty good. That'll work. You fetch for a forest. Do that. Black, black, this. Plague Engineer, name Illusion. And let's go to combat. Okay. They now have a 0-1 blocker. One, two, three. Undercity Informer. Okay. Seagate. Shocks in. Goes with a second Undercity. Sure. Okay. Keep, we draw Becomiments. And that'll do it. One does not have 2 flyers. Combat raw. We go to block. We go Becomiments on this one. Delve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Snow mana. Cool. All right, so we're facing same thing. I like how we boarded. Again, the Plague Engineers are kind of meh at best. Their threats are 2/3s. Push doesn't hit them unless we trigger Revolt, and they have an ETB effect is what we're really afraid of. Technically, the Undercity Informer is not an ETB effect, but they really don't play it until they have the mana to instantly activate it. So we just run it back here and see how we do against this Oops All Spells. Okay, this is a mulligan. I mean, it has potential, right? Overgrown Tomb, Hierarch, Plague Stinger on 2. The problem is we lose. We'll keep because it's got Inquisition and Spell Bomb. It's a 1-lander, so I'm not confident in it. Especially considering how we need green mana for Hierarch here. Okay, so they didn't get... Good. They didn't have Leyline in hand. Upkeep, we draw. That's exactly what we wanted to draw. This swamp, Inquisition opponent. Okay, so they've got 2 spies and then a land. All right. Okay, they play the Brood Pit, and so we know that they've got 2 spies and 1 unknown. That's fine by us. This you, sure. Black, black, Plague Stinger. Next turn we can go Spell Bomb Hierarch. What do we draw? Pentad for 1? That's fine. Upkeep, we draw Catacombs. It's interesting. This, pay 1 life, go get ourselves a basic forest. Tap for green, Hierarch. Tap for black, Spell Bomb. Combat swing for 2. Opponent casts Pentad Prism number 2. Okay. Mutagenic. So 2, 4, 6. We put them to 8. Meaning we wouldn't have to block, but then they would have to be on the defensive for the rest of the game if we did that. We'll go ahead and swing. Ship damage is important here. We'll keep the spell bomb active. We don't need the Plague Engineer right now. Again, opponent can really only just drop this as a blocker. Sounds good. ETB targets themselves. Okay. They put all the cards there. These all go onto the stack. In response to the triggers, exile your library. And pay a black. Opponent concedes. All right. Oops, all spells getting taken down by Spellbomb. All right. So we drew the Plague Stinger. We then would draw an Overgrown Tomb. Okay. We can go ahead and put that in. I don't know if we'd put it in tapped or not. Anyway, onwards to the next match. Getting it against Oops, all spells. Okay, we won the die roll. We will gladly take the play. So hands got a turn 2 Crusader against Gigantha. That's an interesting one. Makes me think like Humans, which Crusader's not terrible against. Overgrown Tomb, shock it in. Green Hierarch, pass the turn. Triome. Black, black, white. Crusader, pass turn. Okay, they get a Vista. Cracks Vista. Okay. Snow Covered Forest tapped. Renin 6. Alright. Renin 6 goes up. I'm assuming. Might be down on the Hierarch. But then they die to the Crusader. They go up. That's fine. This, play out the Ink Moth. Combat 2 with them. Exalted, get in for 3. They can't block. We'll go black, black 1. Play out second Crusader. Then we hit for 5. Doesn't seem bad. If we have a pump spell, we win. So they get planes off of this Vista. And then they downtick the Hierarch. That's fine. What could they possibly have here? White, green, blue. Uro. Sounds good. Go ahead and Uro. You're now tapped out unless you have exactly Force of Negation. What a neat card. You this combat. Attack all at you. Okay, try to mutagenic growth. Damage. First strike normal. Cool. Onwards to sideboarding. We're facing what looks to be a Renin 6 Uro pile. Wonder if this is the cat combo or not. Either way, chokes don't seem terrible, nor do Veil of Summers. They don't really... Abrupt Decays seem alright. IOK and Thoughtseize seems good to see what they're doing. They didn't play a lot of creatures, which means I don't really want to go down on ours. But at this point, it's a numbers game, right? We've got to make room for these somehow. Getting rid of Vines feels wrong, but at the same time, Vines and like a Become Immense. I don't feel that we need Become Immense as our win condition. I'll try this. Okay, hand's got Inquisition, Hierarch, and a Nexus. We'll see if this is good enough. It looks good. Looks a little on the land heavy side, but that's fine. We can fix that up a bit by fetching to thin. They skip the draw step. Because we don't really need to play out these hierarchs till turn 2. They get a snow-covered forest, and then Utopia sprawls the forest. Okay. Name's white. This and step. Catacombs. Go and get ourselves a Overgrown Tomb. Shock it in. Black Inquisition. We've got Renin 6. Kaya's Guile. Each opponent sacks a creature. That's fine. Yeah, we get rid of the Renin 6. So it is Nivtalite. It is not Uro Cat Pile. Or any real Uro pile. Okay. So what? This Teferi? Cool. You got 4 mana. You're gonna bounce to draw. All right. See, now what happens if I play threats here, opponent? Did you think about what happens if I go double hierarch past the turn? Until next turn, they can cast sorceries at instance. Kaya's Guile reads each opponent sacrifices a creature, but then they can also make 1/1s. Blah, they get to make blockers. You... I'm not a fan of this. Because if we swing, they can Kaya's Guile. Looks like they're going to be doing it now. Creating a 1/1 with flying, and then we have to sacrifice a creature. I'll float green here. Sacrifice that. Yeah. Swing it to Fairy. Exalted Trigger. Forgot Teferi doesn't allow us to play at instant speed. So Teferi goes down to 1. And they have a 1/1 flyer. They fetch. Got themselves a Triumph. They have access to 4 colors of mana. They uptick. They now have access to all 5. And that was the last card that we knew about. So we now do not know what they've got in their hand. Blue, black. I'm assuming this is Bring to Light on 5. Or Niv. Just straight Niv. Okay. Alright. And those entered. This is that. They got what? Those 4? Okay. Pulse is going to be the death of us. So this we can animate being a black. Then it's we have to go ahead and try to kick the vines here. Which will be +4/+4. It's a 5/5. Go ahead and do this. Make it a 9/9. Problem is it doesn't have trample, so this gets blocked by their 1/1. But I couldn't not pump it to the point where it could kill the Niv Mizzet. Yep, that happens. And that happens. They've got Pulse, Omnath, Teferi. Get in for 5, and then they have second Bring to Light here. So even if we had a way to hit for 10, they'd be able to... Well, they also have Maelstrom Pulse. Well, again. And then Veil, but Teferi, cool. Alright, so we now know it's Niv Delight. Let's think. Is there any changes we want? Niv Delight does a lot more targeting. Choke is not as good against Niv Delight as it is against the Uro piles. Veil's kind of mediocre against Teferi, as we saw there. However, is there anything we would want in place? I guess we could go Plague Engineer, so that way Kaya's Guile doesn't have that mode. It destroys their flyers. Sure, why not? Okay, we get to take the play. We gladly do so. Hand's got turn 2 Plague Engineer. That's not phenomenal. We'll try it though, because we just need a threat here. We've got a redraw with the Peatland. Opponent will D5. You will go Overgrown. Shock it in, Hierarch, pass turn. Misty Rainforest, cracks the Rainforest. It's an Overgrown Tomb. Thought seizes us? Okay, well, you get to take either Scale Up or Plague Engineer. Are you more worried about being able to make flying blockers? Or are you more worried about me pumping my creatures? They're more worried about the pump. All right. Green black one, plague engineer named Spirit. That way, when we draw our flyers, you can't stop us. We didn't see any Ice Fang Codals, so I'm not too afraid of that card. Utopia Sprawls there. Names one of the 5 colors. Probably like red. Name's white. Okay. This happens. Alright, we'll go Peatland. We'll play Hierarch. And combat swing for 4. Opponent's at 11. Down to 10. Gets a Triome. So we'll have white, blue 1 for Teferi here. Can bounce something. That's not going to be good enough. Teferi will die. Could Kaya's Guile. Maelstrom Pulse. Go ahead and draw ourselves a card here. Ouch. We drew into land. Okay, well, they just pulsed our Hierarchs. Don't know if that's what opponent really wants to be using Pulse on. Plays out a Vista and passes the turn. We draw a threat. However, we are going to do this. Put an Overgrown Tomb into play tapped. Swing for the hills. We've got a 2/2 Death Toucher. It's a lot faster than an Inkmoth Nexus at this point. Until they have the Teferi. So they have 5 mana here. This could be a Niv. Assassin's Trophy. Okay. Awkward way here with flooding out. We'll play out the Inkmoth and pass the turn here. Opponent's got 1 card in hand. This black animate combat. Swing, hope they don't have Kaya's Guile. Alright, we take them to 1 Infect. There's nothing this Verdant Catacombs can go and get, is there? How weird. Green, red, Renin 6. Cool, Renin 6 can't ping at instant speed. We're good. So they have whatever card they had last time. Misty Rainforest plays out the Rainforest. We draw Scale Up. Animate. Scale it up. They've got 1 in hand. We go for the lethal. We get blown out. But they didn't try to remove it last time. They either have it and we get blown out, or they don't and we win. Blow me out, opponent. Cool. We take it against Nivdalite. We're facing Skyanet. Turn 1 Inquisition, turn 2 Glistener Elf, turn 3 Crusader. Sure. Opponent moles to 5. We're in an interesting slot. Plains Giver. All right, so we are facing mono white taxes. Crusader's going to be a house. We'll shock this in. Why not? We're gonna have to shock it in either way. See what they've got. They've got a Thalia, an Arbiter, and a Ghost Quarter. Get rid of the Thalia because we have the Abrupt Decay. Huh. Moto's totally not bugged. Nope. What would give you that idea? That we can go green you. Pass the turn. Arbiter sounds good. So they played, well, they've got Unknown in hand. All right. This Crusader's gonna have to put in work for us, which is real awkward. This Crusader will put in work for us. Crusader. Yeah, no, we're not gonna block. Okay. Opponent could Ghost Quarter one of our lands here if they so please. They do not. Plague Stinger. That's a fun one too. You this Stinger. Combat. Swing for 2. Gotta love an unblockable creature. Take opponent to 2 Infect and pass the turn. And puts in a vial. Sounds good. Don't know why they took a damage. So they're leaving up Quarter. How much mana do we? So we have Animate, Might of Hold 6, 7, 8. They would have to Ghost Quarter. That's nice. And I would like to... apparently I don't get to. There we go. Tap for 1, go here, animate. Combat. Swing in the air. Okay. Take opponent to 4. Sounds good. And then we can pass the turn. They put Vial up to 1. Cool. Opponent does not have a way to deal with Phyrexian Crusader. Who would have thunk it? All right, so it's taxes. I don't know what we want against taxes. They're not a graveyard deck. We don't need the life gain. We want the Crusaders. We want the Plague Singers. Glistener also kind of meh. Maybe Plague Engineer? The problem is a lot of their things are 2/2s. Plague Engineer does deal with Thalia, though, pretty nicely. So I guess it's what Plague Engineer and Push are what we want. As far as what we don't want, we can shave a Become a Mint, shave a Scale Up, shave on Vines, and Mutagenic. We only have 2 Mutagenics. I want to keep, I guess we'll shave on a Glistener Elf, because they typically will have blockers. Glistener Elf isn't going to get there. The Plague Singer has evasion. Phyrexian Crusader has unblockable except for Germ Token. And then yeah. We shall see if this will get there. Less opponent. Okay. So, not a keepable hand. We've got the only land that cannot tap for a color of mana, and then a bunch of colored spells. Mulligan down to 6. Keepable 6. We'll bottom the Vines, because this allows us to go Shock, Inquisition. We've just got lots of IOK. Ooh, that's good. Next turn we have IOK plus an Inquisitor, or plus Hierarch. Inquisition here, we see Displacer, Purge, Skyclave, Stoneforge, and a Sword of Fire and Ice. I don't like Stoneforge next turn. Problem is they also get Displacer next turn, because that land was a Eldrazi Temple, wasn't it? Yep. Okay. And there goes the Displacer. Now we do this. We go Hierarch. Black Inquisition. They don't have a way to make us search, so we get rid of the Skyclave. Their hand is Arbiter, Sword, Purge, 1 unknown. Because I really don't want them having Skyclave plus Displacer flickers. So we'll have Plague Singer for the Celestial Purge. Okay, there's the Arbiter down. They have Sword and Purge. They get in for 3. Sounds good. We won't block. Scale Up's pretty nice. This black Plague Singer. You Glistener Elf. Pass turn. Can't fetch because Arbiter. Okay, they play down Vile, so they still have Purge and Sword in hand. They swing with both. They can't flicker. They can't put in anything unless they have something on 0. Plague Engineer's interesting. Doesn't buy us anything. We can search with this Catacombs, scale up, get in for 7. I'm not opposed to that. Not that. Ignore Arbiter. Pay 1 life. Put in Snow-Covered Forest. Go ahead and go green. Cast there. Begin combat. Swing for 7. Opponent goes to 7 Infect. And Vile goes up to 1, I'm assuming. Exile target black or red permanent. So they'll now have Displacer Flickers. Abrupt Decay. What a fun card. I don't like you flickering things. So go ahead and do your flicker. Okay, they purge. Sounds good. I'm not gonna swing here because we don't have an answer. Vile goes up to 2. What you got now? We've got Sword and another Vile. Okay. And another Vile. So Sword, 1 unknown. It's not a land. Opponent doesn't swing. Okay. What is Stoneforge Mystic? Is it a core cleric is our question. Is a core artificer. And then what is Thalia? Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, is a human soldier, so we can't name 2 birds, 1 stone here. So this will name Cat. Swing for 2. Exalted Trigger. Opponent goes to 9 and passes the turn. They'll have plenty of Vile instant speed shenanigans here. So they've got 2. We know that they've got Sword, Unknown. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Yeah, that's an answer. How funny. We can name me human. Right, because it's creatures your opponents control. We'll name soldier. Opponents gotta either have something here or block with this arbiter. Because we know they've got sword in hand. Okay. Activates Vial. Puts in Flicker Wisp, which is an elemental. So they can flicker. And flickers their planes. Okay. Blocking with a 3/1, keeping your 1/1 around. Okay. And they get their planes back. Can uptick one of those vials to 2, and then they'll have a vial on 1, 2, and 3. Assuming is their game plan here. It says no, no, no. And plays Ghost Quarter. And finally plays out the sword. Can't equip sword, however. Vines of Vastwood's an interesting one. And it's pro red, pro blue. We'll get in for 4. Okay. Yeah, there we go. There's the 1, 2, 3 combo. They now have instant speed. They equip, sure. Got themselves a 3/3. Attacks. Blocks. Try to pump. Your 3/3 meets a 4/5. And step will go ahead and fetch to deck then. Say no. Phyrexian Crusader. Crusader comes down, combat. Swing with both of these. We've got ourselves a blocker. Opponent goes to 12. Opponent now needs an answer to Crusader. The fact that they didn't violin tells me that they've got Batterskull in hand. Plus a land. They violin, I guess. Oh, and Athalia. That'd be another reason you don't violin in, because it's something that just instantly dies. All right. Taking game against good old White Taxes. Going with a 3-0 record. Deck plays pretty well. I like it. Okay. Man, look at this hand. It's so good. Oh, wait, it's missing something. This is a keep. Turn 1, Inquisition. Turn 2, Thoughtseize and Glistener Elf. Putting back a Foothills here. Okay, tower map. So, opponent. What am I afraid of here? We'll do this. We'll shock it in. See what opponent's working with here. All right, we are looking at Ugin, Thoughtnot, Cavern of Souls. Caverns played. Name's Eldrazi. At least there was no Chalice. This upkeep. All right, this fetch. We can get a swamp here. Swamp, Thoughtseize. Let's see what opponents got. Smasher, Thoughtknot, and Ugin. So Ugin's not coming down anytime soon. They can do Thoughtknot next turn. So we take the Thoughtknot. We play out a Glistener Elf. I was gonna say, I know what you have in your hand, opponent. This is only map. Map reveals their third card, Blast Zone. Okay. Means that you're not getting this Reality Smasher down for at least 2 turns. Blast Zone's been played, so they've got 1 unknown plus those 2. Let's think. They can't blow up Blast Zone. We had to fetch a basic swamp there, didn't we? Okay. This will get ourselves a Snow-Covered Forest, black 1, Crusader. Combat, get in for 1 point of chip damage. Trying to dodge Chalice of the Void before a turn. We've got 2 unknowns in hand. They get a waste. They can blow up on 1. Problem is, do they have a way to deal with this big dude? Inquisition. Hit an Inquisition opponent. Just to check their hand. Smasher, Ugin. Let's go ahead and dismiss that, so that way we don't have any unfortunate things. You scale up here. Combat, get in for 7. Yep, opponent breaks Blast Zone. Cool. Get in for 6. Take you to 7. Opponent's got Smasher, Ugin. We're trying to dodge Eldrazi Temple. They hit it. Good for them. Reality Smasher. The question is, do you turn it sideways? If you do, you lose. Can't be countered. Has Trample and Haste. They hold it back. Smart people. Upkeep, we draw. Okay. Okay. We'll play out a second Crusader here and pass the turn. And they answer with second Smasher. No. 1, 2. Spatial Contortion, giving it +3, -3. Okay. Kills off one of our Crusaders. Doesn't turn their Smasher sideways. We draw a Hierarch, which is interesting. We can't kill the Smasher, but we swing. They have to block. We can't pump, so we have to wait. Problem is, if they go second Smasher here, we are in trouble, because that's 10 we have to get past, unless they turn one of these guys sideways. Opponent's debating it. They don't. Okay. Okay. Upkeep, draw. Well, that's an interesting draw. That actually makes it so we get to keep our guy around and they lose both of their smashers. Sounds good to me. In case they try to double block here. If it's a single block, we just take this trade. Okay. And we pass the turn. Dismember. So I know that their hand's Ugin and other stuff. We'll just cast Vines. We don't need to kick it. We now no longer have Pump Spell against Smasher. Upkeep, we draw land. Play this out, pass the turn. I just feel real awkward having to hold Reality Smasher back as a blocker. Within the deck a bit. Draw Vines. So if we use Vines offensively, I mean, they're forced to block, right? They can't take this. See if they've been holding removal. Okay, opponent's got 4 cards in hand. One's a Nugan. There's a Blast Zone. Let me guess, Thought-Knot Seer. Nope. What we staring down now, opponent? It's not instant speed. I guess you could blow up Blast Zone on 1 to keep our Crusader alive. Cool. Or to make it so Crusader's not lethal. And this blows up Blast Zone. Eat ya. Okie doke. Taking game 1 against Eldrazi Tron. I mean, we could Plague Engineer so that way we can name Eldrazi. Doesn't really do a heck of a whole lot. Abrupt Decays don't do much in this matchup. Most of their stuff is above CMC 3. I mean, the problem is they don't target us. I mean, I guess it's minimalistically, it's a 2/2 Death Toucher, so it's not terrible. That we can bring in Shaper Sanctuary because they do have a couple of targeted spells. Take out a Scale Up. Yeah, we'll take out a Scale Up. And run it like so. Let's see how we can do. Okay. So this turn 3. Unless they have the chalice on 1. Considering how they kept on... That's what I didn't look at. Did we have any artifact removal? Our artifact removal is abrupt decay. So we boarded out our only artifact removal. We need to remember to bring that back in, because this is about to be a Chalice of the Void on 1. And we need a way to deal with that. That's where the card's going to be good. Chalice on 1. Yep. We get to play hard mode because we boarded out our Chalice removal because I was not thinking about Chalice of the Void. Mind of Old Krosa. Animate. Combat. 1 opponent. Cavern of Souls, name's Eldrazi. And let me guess, Matter Reshaper. Yep. Sounds good. That happens, we draw Crusader. Crusader's a strong enough card here. Well, even though they don't have a lot, even though they have a lot of colorless stuff, let's see how good a 2/2 First Strike Infect is. Because minimalistically, it gets to block this Matter Reshaper. And here comes Thought Not Seer, takes Plague Engineer. Sounds good. You're not taking any of these 1-mana spells. Don't even pretend. Holds back the Reshaper. Okay. Hierarch. Animate the flyer. Get in for 1. Minimalistically, I've got you on a 10-turn clock. Problem is, you've got me on a lot shorter of 1. We need what? Become immense. As the Dismember, we can pretend like we have an out. Ace Mind Token comes down. Tower comes down. They could draw, which is what they should do. They hit us for 7. We go down to 11. Let's go ahead and fetch this for an Overgrown Tomb tapped. We draw Elf. Okay. Animate there. Go with Scale Up. Yeah, Chalice of the Void, I know. Might have old, I know. We're filling our graveyard for Become Immense. We're not actually trying to get there. Just wanted to show how good his Chalice was. Take him to 3. And now if they have Smasher, they win. We still have Become Immense off the top here. Become Immense is exactly what we need to draw. Animate. And we have 2. So did we board out? I believe we boarded out 1 Become Immense, didn't we? No. We've got a 2 and 47 shot. Not impossible. Down to 3 we go. 1, 2. Draws off of the tome. Has 3 in hand. We don't know any of the 3. Map. Yeah, that gets countered. Become immense. Off the top. That does not have become immense. We could double block and save ourselves, but that's not the card that we needed. Are we anywhere close? Nope. 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 Okay. So I want the become immense. We want these abrupt decays because we need a way to answer Chalice. Plague Engineer again, not terrible, not fantastic. I think we'll actually just run it back. Again, they don't have a lot that targets. I think it's probably like that instead. It actually might just be main board, now that I'm thinking about it. Just try to have a better matchup. Yeah, just go back to main board. This, turn 1 Inquisition, turn 2 Hierarch or Thoughtseize, depending on what we see. Yeah, we keep this. Opponent mulligans 6. Opponent must be looking at a good 6 here because they're taking a while. Fetch and shock. Get access to our colors. Let's see what opponent's dealing with. Bridge, Ratchet Bomb, Ballista. Get rid of that. So they have Waste Mine, Bomb. See, I'm not too scared of Ratchet Bomb. Land? It's not a land. So we'll go Hierarch here so that we have access to mana next turn. Opponent's probably gonna drop this Ratchet Bomb. Place the wastes. It's between Ratchet Bomb or Mace Mine Tome. Ratchet Bomb comes down, alright. Go ahead and dismiss because we're planning on Thought Seizing. Black Thought Seize. Okay, we see Chalice, Bridge, Tome, and Tech Edge. Really don't like Chalice. Green Elf, pass turn. Make it so they'll want to crack this Ratchet Bomb as soon as they can. Our problem is we are stuck on 1 mana. We've got the insane kill if we can pull it off. Problem is, I'm assuming this is probably bridge. Oh, no bridge. Opponent, no. Well, I mean, they have Ratchet Bomb, so we can't kill them with this Glistener Elf. They should Ratchet Bomb right away, so we lose mana. We now are on 1 land. And land. There we go. This, fetch, shock, black, Plague Stinger, pass turn. Opponent's got... So opponent can go Tech Edge plus Bridge, get empty-handed. Opponent put the card on top, which isn't great for us. Tech Edge is played. Thought Knot Seers. Okay. If we hit a land, you're dead, opponent. Oh. You're not dead if you take Scale Up. But you have to take Scale Up, which is the worst one to take. Because now I have free reign to smack you once with this Might of Old Krosa. And that makes it so this guy will be lethal at any point if he gets to connect. So opponent needs land bridge here. Anything that isn't land, they will not do well with. Puts the card on top. Meaning it's either something that can remove the Plague Stinger, okay. So it's something that can remove the Plague Stinger. I don't know why they're not casting it now while I'm tapped out. Because if it gets to my upkeep, I can crack the Pleatland. I guess it's, yeah, it's land bridge. Okay. So the problem is now they can't swing. And if we hit Abrupt Decay off the top here, at any point, Crusader. And we go ahead and drop the Crusader while we have the mana. Because we couldn't crack into what we need there anyway. So opponent needs castable card. Put the card on bottom, meaning it was either uncastable or they didn't want it. Okay, well, they've got mana. We sure as heck don't need to worry about that. And we draw. What do we draw? We draw a second Pleatland. That's pretty good. That gives us 3 draws here to try to find an Abrupt Decay. Opponent's out of scries. Put the card on bottom. They didn't like it. Blast Zone gets put to 1. End step, let's draw a card. And let's draw a card. Try to find a way out of this. Neither of those are what we wanted to see. Crusaders, meh. Down to 5. Get us no covered. Black 1. Crusader, pass turn. We've got a 3 in 41 chance to get out of this at this point. Blast Zone goes up to 3. We're gonna skip over 2, huh? Okay. They draw. It doesn't matter what they draw. They've got more than enough mana to cast anything that they want. Second Blast Zone. Ouch. Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay. Wrong. Okay. Yep. Oh, putting Blast Zone on 2. Yep, puts Blast Zone on 2 here. Problem is, opponent can't get in. They also can't blow up this Blast Zone on 3. I mean, they can. Now they blow up both of these. They get in for 4. We go down to 1. 8 mana, 9/10 Ulamog. 11/12 Ballista for 6. Machine gun down my board. Yep. Has a Ballista on 1. Can pop the Blast Zone. Oh, we're also just at 6. So we lose to Ballista. All right. Unfortunate. Didn't quite get there. Would we have drawn what we needed? One card away. Doesn't change anything there. Because at that point, they could also just go... They didn't have to play the Ballista. They go blow up Blast Zone on 3, so they have Bridge. Blow up Blast Zone on 2. They have the Thought Knot. They get in for 4. We go down to 1. Abrupt Decay no longer answers anything. So the fact that they had the Ballista doesn't change anything. Just makes it that the Ballista is how we died instead of how the other way. All right, we are 3-1. Let's see if we can go 4-1. Facing Ghost. All right. Okay. Turn 2 Crusader. The Luris. So this is Luris Mill. Assuming Ghost is on Mill. Don't know how well this hand will work against Mill, but we'll find out. Fetch and Shock. Play out the Hierarch and pass the turn. Turn 2 Crusader. Again, if it's Mill, the red-white, not going to be relevant. For those who don't know who Ghost is, he is another Magic streamer. That is his Twitch. Go check him out. I don't know if he's live or not. If he is, you get to see both sides of this. Okay. So this fetch Swamp. Push. Okay. So no turn 2 Crusader. That's fine. An Inquisition. Not terrible. See what we're working with on that side. Okay, so it is Mill. I'm not a fan of any of these cards. The problem is he no longer has access to blue mana. So we take the orb and shut Ghost off of blue till they draw a blue land. We know that Luris is in the revealed zone, not in hand. See what we see here. It's the Makokoro. At this fetch. I don't want to get basics in case they hit Field of Ruin. Do this. A Thoughtseize. Surgicals, the Noble, sure. Eats 3 from there. And then their hand is Ruin Crab, Hedron Crab, 1 unknown. Don't know if we Thoughtseize here. Because they can only play one of these spells if they hit a land. We're not going to be searching anytime soon, so I'm not afraid of Archive Trap for 0. We'll go ahead and just drop a Crusader here. Seems like a pretty good answer. Okay, no blue sources. Unfortunate. So 6, 8. Thoughtseize our way. Let's see what they've got. It's not relevant right now, but it'll be relevant in a bit. Ruin Crab, Surgical. I mean, we take their one castable card, right? Scale up. Mutagenic. In combat, swing for 8. We know that their hand is that. They hit their blue source. They did. They can do this. They can play a crab. And they've got a couple of crabs as blockers. Visions. Cycles visions. So choosing to try to find an out. Decides doesn't want to play 3 crabs in a row as blockers. We draw land, and then we'd play second Crusader. Okay. So, Luris Mill. We don't have any mill cards. Plague Engineer could name Crab. Doesn't kill any of their crabs. Push doesn't seem terrible. Shapers is creatures. They don't target our creatures other than the pushes and the Drown in the Locks. Veil of Summer would give us X-proof for if they have Archive Trap. Spellbomb's not terrible because minimalistically it allows us to spellbomb our own yard. And so that way they can't draw. As far as what we want to take out, they don't have too many permanents, but I want to keep in as much removal as possible. Commence is pretty mediocre. We can shave a scale up, shave some vines. They don't target too much. And then Might and an Elf. Crusader is actually pretty terrible in this matchup. It's first striking, which isn't terrible, but again, I think we'd rather have a Vines. Run like so. Trying to just have more removal. Okay. It's an interesting hand. We get hurt a bit by a Archive Trap here, but we've got IOK Hierarch. We'll try it. Has their blue mana and a crab. Okay. Well, there's an Abrupt Decay. Not terrible for us. This we'll go ahead and fetch. I know. Playing right into their hand. Inquisition. Show me the Archive Trap, Ghost. Cool. You got more than one? Nope. As Blood Chief's Thirst and Engineered Explosives, though. So destroy CMC 2 or less. Sunburst. Okay. Take care of the Blood Chief's Thirst. Watergrave put into play. Shocks it in. Interesting. Okay. We'll yield to the crab. Kimmel over Plague Stinger, Pleatland, and Pleatland. Unfortunate. Hit quite a bit of lands there. Is crab being turned sideways? Nope. We didn't receive a message. Okay. Hierarch. Show me the drown in the log. No. This, okay. Okay, Echoing Truth and Engineered. Get rid of the Echoing Truth. Okay, Dark Slick, they milled us. Milled Scale Up, Growth, and Catacombs. And they have EE. They could EE on one. We have Spell Bomb here. I like Spell Bomb and Plague Stinger. We do only have 31 cards in the yard. Or we only have 31 cards left in our library. So we do need to be careful. Notice that Lurrus wasn't declared. Okay, EE on one. Sounds good. No messages sent with the crab. Opponent can EE now. However, we're not afraid of EE anymore. Leg Stinger. Then we can have vines open here. Okay. Because we know that they're hand snow-covered island. Vision's awkward. If I had played out the Spell Bomb. Okay. So we need what? Might of Old Krosa here. So that's 4. Would kind of sort of force. Yeah. It forces either drown here or removal. Destroys each. Yeah. You lose your crab. I'm okay with this. Swing for 5. Take Ghost to 5. Play out a Spell Bomb past the turn. Okay. We're out of pump. So we now have to switch over to go wide. That's fine. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay. Pretty good draw. We exile 32. Oh, what a terrible draw. Animate combat swingerino. Try to mutagenic growth one of them. All right. There we go. Taking down Mill, getting the 4-1 with green-black infect, or black-green, Golgari, however you want to call it. Overall, it plays very differently than blue-green infect, but it's really, really powerful right now. The Crusaders came in very handily against mono-white taxes. The first strike's relevant. I like how it plays more of a chip damage mid-rangey thing versus the whole combo type that blue-green has. The Inquisitions and Thoughtseize felt very good. Again, I probably should have realized that Abrupt Decays are only way to deal with Chalice of the Void and kept that in against the Eldrazi matchup. Would it have changed anything? I don't know. But hey. Yeah. That's the deck. That's the list. That's some gameplay. I think it's pretty good. Not bad at all. See you guys in the next one.